for lying to federal agents. President Trump's first national security advisor, Michael Flynn, has backed off planned testimony in a federal case against a former business associate. Flynn was set to be the government's star witness at that trial, which deals with foreign lobbying work. However, the prosecution now suggests in court filings that they do not believe Flynn would tell the truth on the stand, and that they now believe he is a co-conspirator rather than a cooperating witness.
Man, that is quite a change.
That is the president's first national security advisor. Joining us now, senior legal affairs contributor at Politico, Josh Gerstein, who's been following this case closely. So what's happening with Michael Flynn?
Well, you know, this has been a long time coming, Joe and Mika. It's been about a year and a half or so since Flynn pleaded guilty. And that whole time, we've been wondering, would this agreement really hold? You had Flynn's family members and associates out there just walloping special counsel Robert Mueller. Then finally, about a month ago, you had Flynn abruptly change lawyers and bring in Sidney Powell, who is just a virulent critic of the Mueller prosecution. And we all thought, you know, at some point here, Flynn is going to try to withdraw his plea, back out of the deal. Something has to give. And now, just in the last week, it turns out what's giving is that prosecutors say Flynn is shifting in his testimony about some of his conduct. They now don't trust him enough to put him on the stand, and he may not testify at this trial that is supposed to begin next week, which was the whole reason his sentencing has been postponed for the last several months.
You listen, I have to assume that he's in big trouble now in terms of doing prison time. The judge before said, you need to do more cooperating because I'm about to throw you in jail, which is why one of the delays happened. What I'm trying to figure out here is, has there been some signal on a pardon? Has there been some back channel communication to Flynn? If you start sitting down and behaving nicely, we'll take care of you later, because it really does appear that he is completely backtracked. And there's no question in my mind, if he comes in front of the judge now after basically blowing up this agreement, he gets sentenced to 5 years, right?
I don't know that he would necessarily get 5 years, but he's definitely looking at jail time. And before, prosecutors weren't even recommending that he get a prison sentence at all. And the judge that's handling Flynn's case seemed to be surprised, maybe even angry by these developments. He issued an order saying he wants an explanation from the government by 5 p.m. today, basically about whether Flynn is still considered a cooperating witness. I do think the subject matter that Flynn is supposedly getting shifty about in his testimony could ease the way for a pardon down the road. He's now minimizing his conduct related to being an agent for Turkey during the presidential campaign, during President Trump's presidential campaign, where Flynn was a top advisor, of course. And if he minimizes what he did there and suggests he really wasn't acting as a foreign agent right in the middle, an undeclared foreign agent right in the middle of the presidential campaign, maybe that helps with some of the optics of a Trump pardon if that becomes his move later on in this saga.
Well, you know, Claire, this really is an interesting development because Flynn has Manafort to look at and to see how terrible a turn his life took when he was uncooperative. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's the possibility that the state of Pennsylvania could possibly bring charges, possible attempted kidnapping charges for the Turkish dissident that Flynn apparently, reportedly, was talking to Turkey about.
Time will tell whether this development is really an effort to help shore up his image with Trump, as opposed to looking after him and his family. I think this new legal team has convinced him that he is not in that much jeopardy, or because if you're his lawyer, you have to look after him, not the president. So I think it's really a problem that this man is now going to do much more time than he ever would have done because he's changed lawyers who may not be advising him in his best interests, but in the best interests of President Trump.
All right. Senior legal affairs contributor at Politico, Josh Gerstein.